Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and I'm bringing you another Space Empires 4X. I've just finished up Turn 11. I haven't done the economic part of it, but I'm not going to worry too much about the economic part of it, at least in Turn 11. So obviously one thing just a quick correction. So one thing that I forgot to do is when you discover a barren planet in deep space, so one of the white markers, you're supposed to put aliens inhabit that planet. So I haven't been doing that. So what I did is there was, one here, one here, one here, one over there, and then two here. There was a couple of others. I think some of these right here might have been destroyed, but they were destroyed by the Doomsday Machine anyway, so it didn't matter. So what I did is I spawned the aliens, and if there was a unit, because normally what happens is you put the aliens there, and then you have to engage in combat. So what I did was I spawned the aliens, and if there was a unit there, because I had forgotten to do the whole alien thing, if there was a fleet there, I gave them the chance to leave the hex. So on their first movement turn, if they wanted to vacate the hex, then they could, just because I had totally forgotten about the whole alien thing. So I moved everybody out, and then, Marty decided to move the Knossos fleet back in, and that's why I left that there to kind of remind me. Completely wiped out all the aliens there, so now it's just a barren planet. So if you have terraforming technology, then you can colonize the planet, and then you can get some... Where are they? You can get some alien technology from it, but you have to colonize the planet. So I just left that there as a reminder to me to, hey, let them, cover that in the video, that there was a combat, there were aliens there, and Marty destroyed them all and didn't lose a single ship. So unfortunately, none of their ships got promoted, so that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But so yeah, there's kind of the yellow and green, Marty and Sadie, they're kicking butt. And of course, Beaver in the red, he is really, hit the camera, Beaver's really expanding. He's really plussing up that fleet right there. So the Bringers of Pain, they've got all kinds of stuff right here, and he might be making he's thinking about making a push. Stevie's getting a little bit worried, but he's not too worried because there's nothing's happened so far. So, but yeah, that's just a really quick capture of Turn 11. Really, the big reason I wanted to get it was because I wanted to make a correction about the aliens. I'd forgotten to do that. That's kind of what happens when you play a big game by yourself. You've got a lot of things to remember, so you tend to forget some stuff, but you got to hope that your mistakes kind of equal out amongst all the players, so there's nobody gets a distinct advantage, even though it doesn't matter because it's my game. I can do what I want, right? But there you have it. That's Turn 11, and then once I get done with Turn 12, then I'll go ahead and get this loaded up. All right, thanks. All right, folks, I have just wrapped up turn number 12, which will be part 5, I think. I probably need to write down what part I'm on, but whatever. I always just look at the video before I name the new video. I always look on YouTube anyway and see which one I did last. So we had our first combats, like player between players, like not aliens or doomsday devices or whatever, but actual players fighting it out, and it's pretty interesting. So that was a little bit of excitement. So one of our fights was here between Sadie and Marty, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Marty ended up coming out on the better side of that battle. So there was the Claymore fleet, which is here, was here. The Knossos fleet moved in. They had their combat. You can see that the Claymore fleet is now here, and the Knossos fleet is still there. So the Knossos fleet won. And let's see what the losses were here. So it looks like the Knossos fleet lost 2 destroyers and 2 scouts. And then the Claymore fleet, yeah, it's Claymore fleet. A colony ship, 2 destroyers, 2 shipyards, and 2 fighters. So, yeah, the colony ship just happened to be at the planet. Of course, the shipyards were at the planet too, so that's why the colony ship was lost. And then, because Marty, Yellow, doesn't have any transports or anything like that, he did some orbital bombardment, reduced the colony from a 5 down to a 1 now because he has this fleet here. Actually, you know what? That colony, this colony is now a 3. So the colony, you can't collect income from it, but it'll still grow. So we bombarded it down to a 1, but then you still increase colonies at the end of the turn. So it went from a 1 back up to a 3. So it doesn't, we don't get the CPs for it anymore because there is an enemy fleet there now. So, and then these cubes are, this is just, you know, that's the infantry that's garrisoning the planet. So what Marty's going to do is on Marty's turn, he built a transport and is going to load it up with all the infantry that he's got, and he's going to actually do a ground invasion when it's his turn. So, but we'll see. We'll see what Sadie has in plan. Maybe Sadie's going to try to get that back. We don't know. But so that was the first major combat. Now we'll kind of just go over the production. So well, this is Sadie. Let's go ahead. Well, yeah, that was, we can cover Sadie because that was the big thing. All right, so there's our production. We had 94. Looks like we ended up with 75. Bought some shipyards. Bought that transport. Bought some more battle cruisers. We got our free infantry. It doesn't look like we did any technology spending. So, yeah, I don't think there's any technology spending. So, I believe we bought the, yep, there's the cruisers. And I think I put the, yeah, I put the infantry and the transport already in the Logos fleet. I created a new fleet, so we've got the Logos fleet here, and the Logos fleet will end up cruising across space and joining the Knossos fleet, and then we can probably, if we want, we can always combine those 2 fleets. So one thing that did help out Marty was he used his Fearless Race ability. So in the first round of combat, all ships attack at Class A. And then they revert to their normal class after the first round. So that helped out. I don't remember using it before. I think I probably forgot about it when I was fighting the aliens or whatever, but I remembered when I was fighting Sadie. So Sadie didn't see that coming. So there was a little bit of posturing, a little bit of movement. Marty had backed off one of his fleets, so then Sadie kind of moved one of her fleets, and then Marty kind of swooped in. But Sadie's been kind of exploring here, discovered a supernova. Basically, a supernova is blocking terrain. It doesn't do anything to your ships when you discover it, but you can't move through it. So she's expanding that way. But now that there's the bigger threat, some of this will still happen out here, but most of the attention's now going to be here. Sadie didn't have a whole lot of production going on. It looked like a total of 71. Then after maintenance, down to 59. So she bought some battle cruisers, some more fighters, got some free infantry, and I think she put most of it right here, which is dangerous, right? Because you've got this planet here and this planet here with nothing on it. So if Marty wants to, he can kind of go that way, hit that one. Then Sadie's really going to be hurting after that. So there's Sadie. And then we had another combat right here. We had Marty and Beaver got into it. Beaver's the one that initiated the combat. So there was a big fight between the Bringers of Pain fleet and the Frontier fleet. It started here. Obviously, the Frontier fleet's now here. What's remaining of it. So the Frontier Fleet just chose to, they ended up, I think it was like after the first or second round of combat, the Frontier Fleet did a retreat. So lost some ships. In fact, let's see what the... So yeah, that first fight, the Frontier Fleet lost its boarding ship, which I was kind of hoping to board one of the battleships, one of Beaver's battleships, but that didn't happen. And then Beaver actually took Beaver took some losses, surprisingly. A cruiser and 3 destroyers. Destroyers not so big. The decoys were a different. So, kind of as a bluff, Beaver left his decoys here. And then after this fight took place here, Stevie I think he had his destroyers like here, and he was able to move 3 because he has really invested heavily in movement tech. So he went 1, 2, 3. He kind of figured that since most of the engagement was here, he's like, let me see what this stack of units here was. They happened to be decoys. So he got lucky on that one. So after it was all said and done, Stevie ended up with a raider, a cruiser, and a couple of destroyers left over. And then, of course, we've got the Bringers of Pain, which, they've got some battleships. I think that's a heroic battleship. Ended up playing this. You can promote a battleship to a heroic ship, which gets +1 to attack and +1 to defense. So he stays like that for the rest of the game until he's either destroyed or captured. So that was the big thing right here. So we've got the Beaver has kind of got the upper hand. Of course, his production is through the roof, so he was able to replace all of his losses and then some. Let's see what... So there you got the state of Stevie's empire. He's got this going on right here. He's got the big threat here. Still trying to get this space wreck, trying to tow this space wreck back to a colony, which is, he hasn't had much luck doing that. So other than that, Stevie hasn't really done a whole lot. All right, let's see what the production sheet looks like. So Stevie's production, again, it's pretty decent. So bought some shipyards, bought some battle cruisers, bought some cruisers, got his free infantry. Doesn't look like we spent anything on technology. So again, most of the spending was in response to that. I think the shipyards were put here. And then, of course, we've got Beaver, who is just killing it. Ooh, I need to advance that colony. So that's done, and I know I didn't do these up here. So let's advance these colonies. So that's just going to make his production even more ridiculous. There we go. So you can see he's really expanding out this way, and of course he's starting to expand this way now. So he's really definitely got the upper hand. He used his Celestial Knight. So once per battle after the first round, you can charge, which allows your ships to get 2 attacks. So he used that against Stevie, and that's one of the reasons Stevie ended up doing the retreat. And he did. It was a wise retreat on Stevie's part. So let's look at Beaver. Here's his production, 194. Not as good as the previous round, but he's really cranking out the construction points. Maintenance costs are high, but he's got a lot of battleships. They're pretty... I think they're 3 maintenance per. So he bought a carrier. He doesn't have fighter technology yet, but he's buying the carrier, and then he's going to go ahead and start looking into fighter technology and then taking that into battle. So I think the carrier went here. But he's already thinking ahead. So bought some more battleships, bought some battle cruisers. I think the battle cruisers ended up going out here because the threat from this direction is not there yet. But he's posturing himself to start going that way. And of course, we already know that Sadie is kind of hurting. So didn't have a lot carried over. I mean, you can see in some of the previous turns, he was carrying over almost triple digits now. He spent a lot this turn, but a lot of that was on I think that's 4 battleships. So I think what we'll probably start looking at ship size again. Yeah, there was some technology spent. I think I wanted to do defense. I researched defense, but it wasn't successful. I spent 20 points to get, gave me 4 dice rolls. Added together, they were only 16. It's got to be over that number right there. So did not get defense. I was kind of hoping to get some extra defense on those battleships, but didn't happen. So, and then of course there was ships, various ships in all the different combats that were promoted from green to skilled. So, you know, nobody's a legendary ship yet, but it was definitely an interesting round this time. Anyway, that's all for, I believe I want to say part 5. So thanks for watching.